still they are very much united. And the third one, multiform character, right? So all these needed to be understood if you are going to do a research, thinking of solving a real world problem, you have to have this understanding, right? Okay. This complexity is going to be much more with the situation or the idea of the real world problems that we are going to solve with our knowledge, right? Now, I don't know, this is the first time I'm sitting in front of you all in this particular podium. I know this is the SLAAS, Advancement of Sciences. But I still would like to invite you all to refer to chapter 3 of this particular document, right? Right? So I don't know how many of you people are agreeing upon these things, right? If you're not agreeing upon these things, you have to understand whether you are doing any sciences there, right? But this chapter basically talking about the good times of science and how it's going down due to the challenges, inability to face challenges, right? So if you look at any of your research, right, there are 3 postulates depending on the paradigm based on. So these are assumptions, right? First one, that there exists universal law of mathematical character. Gaia may be very happy with this, right? You may be measuring a tail and the body part, and what you are looking at is a kind of mathematical equation to see this relationship, right? So this is the case. So that is the first agreement, right? If you do any presentation, you look at the SLAAS sessions, you can see how many people are trying to get this law out from the data that they found. The second law, these laws could be discovered by scientific experiments. Number 2, I don't know if some maybe they agree with that, right? So only with scientific means that we can understand these connections, the law, right? The third one, which is very interesting thing, right? That such experiments could be perfectly replicated, right? Basically, you disregard the time, right? That is why we all are asking for the method section very nicely inside your scientific contributions, right? I am lucky enough to, right, as being a part of the editorial board of an NSF journal, so I managed to get rid of this logic part, methodology soon, right? We all are still continuing when it's come to finding knowledge, thinking of there will be solving our problems in the real context, right? Monodisciplinary approaches. So what you see, right, even if you look at my discipline, computing, we see still we go for what we call hyper-specialization. So we have data sciences, we have AI, right? So we go in very much. So what is SOC? Separation of concern. So when you have a complexity, what is the easiest approach? You separate your concern, right? That is one approach. Parts, if it is very big, you fragment it to atoms. If the atom is too big, you further fragment it to small atoms and try to solve the thing, right? So these are the typical approaches that you're using when it's come to finding solutions. Now you all, some of the understanding that you all are having within the monodisciplinary, if you look at the science, right? What is it? Okay, normal recommendation is to go for research, applicable research, which can deliver something to the real world, right? So that's why we start with real world problem here, right? With that inspiration, in that light, we normally recommend to go for the research question, right? Concepts are very important. I would again like to do this differentiation between these 3 concepts. Real world problem, if it is motivated, your research question is motivated by the real world problem, which is very nice. The second one, research question. Why do we need a research question? Right? And come up with the research question, right? Then why do we need a research question? I'm pretty much sure some of you people may have seen this paper mountain. You all know one of the biggest, the third one or fourth one in the world, right? So what you see here, you see just the first page, right? Just the first page. This is a very old picture that I got from the internet, right? Just the first page of scientific publications. Now the size, here you have the aeroplanes flying, right? Right? Now you see, this is the literature that you got to look into, decide whether there is any gap to be filled. Now how do you limit the scope? For that purpose only, you have to tell your students or somebody who is doing research with you, you need very nice formulation for the research question. So if you know the research question, then your search space can be reduced dramatically. Otherwise, you can't do this research, right? And then, when you look at the particular territory, I would say the discipline or whatever, the sub-discipline or the body of knowledge, you can find gaps. So that gap can be formulated as research problem. So that is what you have to basically fill. You go to the literature, you don't find anything, then you try to fill that. So that is what we are normally expecting, right? Okay. So that is basically knowledge gap, knowledge niche, right? Then this is it, method, right? After that, of course, you can go for the development. What? Sustainable, successful solution, right? But before getting into my recommendation, I would like to share with you all a sentence, right? Don't think the methodology is just a fancier term that can be used in the place of method, right? There, right? But method and methodology are two different things, right? Now you can remember the separation that I did, operational and knowledge. So basically methodology refers to science of method, right? Simply you can look at that, right? But if you're asking methodology, you have to write that. So if you have method, then you have to write something at operational level, the exact procedures that you followed in order to get to the knowledge. Clear? So these things we are doing, right? I didn't get to my crazy ideas yet, right? Okay. Unfortunately, most people are looking at research somewhere here, right? I don't know whether you got it. When I was starting introducing myself, in addition to what Professor Sumedha told you, I am an ontologist, or the kind of a conceptual modeler. So therefore, I got a bit interested on looking into roots, right? So I invite you all to look at epistemology, paradigm. Within the paradigm, you can look at the relevant methodology. Based on the methodology, you can come up with your own research method. Then you can go for the data collects, right? Okay. So I don't want to spend time, so this is kind of a brief description of those concepts that I try to share with you all, right? Okay, I have, I'm right, and tools can be used for that, and the data visualization and data interpretation. Why do we need that? To back our claims, right? You know that, normally if it is a defense, to be backed with valid reasons and evidence. Okay, bit interesting. You saw that the paradigm thing, right? There are a lot of things that you can read. I just like to share with you all these two paradigms. Paradigm of simplicity and paradigm of complexity, right? There are some interesting things here, right? Of course, we all are Buddhist, but I don't know how much of Buddhist philosophy that we are adapting, right? For example, here you can see, right? Bambayak veccha sirura tura mulu lokaya. Sorry, I didn't had a chance to learn Buddhism in my school, right? It's a Catholic school, right? Answers you disregard the observer, observing what? So it may be me or somebody else observing, they will be observing the same thing. It's a big assumption, right? I don't know, right? That is one thing I don't know, I can share this slide, then if you like, you can leisurely go through, right? Two paradigms, right? So you can decide based on which paradigm you could proceed with your finding solutions, contributing knowledge, thinking that those will deliver some useful solutions to the real world. Okay. Again, the document that I mentioned, some of the parts from those, right? Now, this is a, sorry, we don't have anybody from medical background, right? I was expecting Professor Saroj to be here, right? So this is, right, where they tried out. I mean, if you even you yourself have maybe having some experience, right, about the multidisciplinary approaches. If you're going to go for a treatment, you know that different divisions, different clinicians that you have to meet, right? But it is not transdisciplinarity, right? For example, they use very nice term, juxtapositioning, right? Again, if you look at any proceeding coming out from any multidisciplinary, remember the roots that I showed you, right? Starting from the ontology, epistemology, so those are that, right? So you keep them close by, right? Then you see flowers, knowledge contributions, right? To visualize what is happening there, right? You take the problem, decompose it, and take it to your own territory, and come up. So you don't get the sustainable, total solution, successful solution. Okay, then in the same document, they are proposing another kind of a way to come out of those difficulties as the interdisciplinary approaches for the problem situation in parallel. Right? Let me show the situation with again with a kind of a metaphor from the there are a lot of biology. So I would like to look at interdisciplinary, right? So here, still if you go very carefully to the lower ends, you can see they are coming from different roots, right? The analysis is parallel, then you have the interaction among the different disciplines, and mostly like that, you see the cross boundaries things are happening. You go beyond the territory and working together with others to find solutions. But still you can see some issues there, right? Now this is the key thing that I want to share with you all, right? I don't think I'm not just ending my talk just cutting and pasting those interesting parts from this document, but I'm going to propose some crazy ideas, two crazy ideas. I will tell what is it all about. Now this definition is a right enterprise. Right? If you're working with Peruni, it's like a enterprise. I would like to call it as a social enterprise. Right? And also this definition tells us it's not going to work. What is all about the transdisciplinarity. Now you see, if you look at all the previous cases, the roots are coming from different territories, different disciplines, right? Now here, you do a kind of a hybrid version of whatever thing. It's a new thing, right? So that's why when I was asked to do a talk, I was very much worried whether to go for the operational level and whether to go for the knowledge level. Operational level things are not possible if you're not really doing that into the real society, right? I will say what things we have to do. If you're not doing those things in real context, you can't claim. So that's why I raise the level. When you have some difficulty, what we do, we go for the basics. Ne? Even in the cricket, it was the way we are coaching. Ne? If things are not happening as expected, you have to go to the basics, right? I go to the basics, that is about the knowledge level things, right? So here, what are the things that we need? What is very important, right? Now, if you, for example, limit to Gaia's language, which is very much formal, of course, then, you know, the exclusion is there, right? You can let everybody to have a dialogue with her. But she's trying a lot, I mean, to explain maths in simple terms. I have seen some nice video clips, right? Okay, meta is, again, when you think, right, interdisciplinary, right? You can see the different discipline things are coming together. You have a very nice blend. It's like a cake, right? You can put flour, you can put sugar, you can put butter, you can put eggs. But at the end, right, if you see all those things again, there is no interdisciplinarity there, right? Now, okay, all these talks are very nice. Now, what I can propose you all of some crazy ideas. Okay, I'm going to propose two crazy ideas, right? One is kind of even my PhD dissertation comes with an acronym. Similarly, I came up with a framework, right? It's risk OC framework, right? OC, you know, the science not being tried in Gaza, you know that, right? So because if you are doing responsible things with your knowledge, right? In that, I mean, if this RRI is very famous, right? RRI. I would like to refer you to this URL, rri-practice.eu. Well, I'm a bit biased towards the European part, right? Maybe my postgraduate and postdoctoral studies mostly there, right? rri-practice.eu. Then you can learn. I mean, one good thing here on this platform, you have a lot of MOOCs, massively online and open courses, if you want to learn these things, right? That is one very nice reference that I would recommend you all to. If you want to do some transdisciplinary thing, of course, RRI is mandatory. I would claim it as a responsible. The second thing I refer it as an inclusive, right? In that context, I have listed some of the areas that you would look at. We call participatory development, right? Normally, you know that. I will come into this a bit more in detail, right? Then the citizen science and then the action research are the areas that may be relevant to dig more into, right? Again, for that, right? For example, if you look at the citizen science, which is very nice thing. Again, it's from EU. So if you type EU-citizen.science, URL is very simple to, memorize. Citizen.science, right? No com, no edu, no gov. You just type EU-citizen.science, right? Then sustainability science, I don't want to elaborate anything on that. I know that it is an area that has been heavily discussed inside the SLAAS as well. We have SDG and everything, right? This is something, I don't know. I know that Professor Senrath is trying some of these things, but, very hard. What is it? Getting traditional indigenous knowledge to mix, to blend with modern things, other knowledge systems. We don't like, right? We don't like, we don't let any to come in and get mixed with ours. So that is another area. These are not, okay, the abbreviation is mine, but these are like, if you look at transdisciplinary, these have been very much discussed under that, right? Last two, open, right? Now, even, I don't know, even in SLAAS, if you are publishing something, you got the copyright form or something filled, I guess, right? So I don't know whether it is open, I don't know. You have to check that, right? And this CAM, right? Again, you can do a small Google search. CAM is very important if you do real transdisciplinary work. What is CAM? Collaborative, adaptive management. The traditional management is not going to contribute to do anything good for us if you are going to do transdisciplinary thing. What is needed is CAM, right? Okay, I'm not going to take each and everything. I will take a couple of things. One is open, right? Open sciences, again, this is a very nice toolkit. Again, from UNESCO, you can just search and see. I'm not getting anything from UNESCO for promoting them, but of course they have to, right? But this is something, maybe some of these symbols you maybe at least one you all are very much familiar, right? This one. But I don't know how many of you people are familiar with this one, right? This is something came out from our domain, computing. Copy left, right? You know what is the phrase after this symbol normally? All, right, reserved. Copy left, all, wrong, reserved, right? And also another very nice initiative is the Creative Commons license. Maybe some of you people are very much familiar with this, I presume. And I also like to invite you all to listen to this guy from Harvard, Professor Lessig. He's having very many talks. One of these is this contribution, scientific knowledge contribution. Traditionally, I would like to label it as, according to the Professor Lessig, read-only culture, right? Creator creates, and we just consume the knowledge created, right? So we have another culture we call read-write culture, right? Where you have the remixing, recreating, redistributing, all these things are possible very nicely, very easily, right? That's a different culture, right? I invite you all to, I don't want to click here. If you click that, you will get that clip. But with the time and everything, maybe we can rush, right? When you have a little free time, just search this talk. Very nice, very interesting. Right. Now, this is all about the inclusive thing. Before getting into the inclusive, that what I'm going to propose, the framework I propose, right? The second thing is the process. This is the process, basically, right? You know, the typical solution production process, right? Only on the extreme right-hand side, you have the user, right, who is coming with all the requirements. You take it into your company, production company, right, over the wall, right, and then you deliver, right. So then there is no way to the users to take part. You can remember the participatory development in the development process, right. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to propose a mechanism, a process, approach, where we can let everybody to get involved, right. Now, maybe some of you people remember this icon, I presume, during the British Council event, I showed this icon, right? Before getting into the melted version of that, I would like to still stick to the structured version, right? So that we all can try to understand what is needed if you want to do really try out transdisciplinarity with your work, right? Now, this is very simple. Now, you have a very big spectrum of stakeholders, but you can simply categorize them into two categories with the traditional understanding, the solution developers and the users, right? Basically, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to satisfy user requirement, right? They are coming to you with their concerns, asking for solutions. On the other extreme end, you all are to develop with your knowledge possible solutions. Then you have to have a kind of a match. Now, each and every cell represents something. If you ask me, okay, there could be a lot of things, right? If you have very many things, how do you understand that? Again, the ontology, right? I presume that you all are very much familiar with this W5H framework, which was proposed by Sackman. We call Sackman framework. It is basically for the enterprise ontology, right? If you find answers for all these questions, you know the context. What are the concerns? How you are going to achieve that? Now, I don't want to go all these 6 columns. I'm going to propose a small kind of a promising approach you all to consider, right? What is the approach? Start with why. I will tell what is why soon. Get to the what for your context, whatever the thing that you are going to solve. Thirdly, how. If you got answers for these things very correctly, then you know you can do somewhat of hard transdisciplinary approach to be adapted. So the approach that I'm going to propose is kind of a systematic. You don't take everything. There is kind of a SOC, separation of concern, right? And there is no discipline here. I didn't talk about it. Okay, I just referred plant science and maths and everything, but no disciplines here, right? And if you go this systematic approach, there's a very nice benefit you are getting, which you call bidirectional transdisciplinarity. For the solution, if you are going to take a design decision, which can be very nicely traced back all the way up to the why. So what is why? Why is basically goals, right? If you don't know what is the goal you are going to achieve, why do you want to find a solution, don't start solving that problem. So very simple. Why is basically goals, sometimes we call motivations, right? So even there you have to understand, right? Normally when you say, if you are going a very, very formal kind of a specification, goal model, you have to understand there are possible very many perspectives. The goal model that I am creating for me is not the goal model that you are creating for you. So that is why you have to understand that difference. So if you come up with only one single goal model, there is no transdisciplinary to be considered or discussed there, right? Right, now you know what are the goals, what are the objectives that you are going to achieve. The second thing, the second situation that you should go into is what we call what aspect. So if it is a kind of a business kind of a solution, you know it is a value that you want to create or benefits that you want to create, right? So there are a lot of things that you can learn. I mean, if it's a business domain solution, you can look at the value propositions, value theories are there, right? I don't want to elaborate, but this understanding is very much needed, right? What is ultimately you're trying to deliver to the intended audience. And finally, the procedures to be adapted, the process, how you are going to get there, how you are going to create that value, right? So this is a simple process, right? What I would like to claim as RISC, OC, and W2H, right? I presume that you all got some idea. Okay. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to interact with me. Last. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that was my comment, that's all. Not a question. I wanted to absorb it, that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prof. It was very engaging presentation. I hope that we might need a little bit of time to digest what you have shared. But I'm very interested in this term, the ontology that you used, just to introduce yourself and how you place yourself within that ontology. Because as I know, actually, ontology, the term is coming from philosophy.
Yeah, you can refer, I mean, we have two people from arts faculty, Jawadanapura.
Yes.
They have a dictionary. They asked me to define that. It's called Sadbhava Vedaya.
Yeah, Sadbhava Vedaya is the Sinhala.
Visit our site, dictionary.fa. Yeah.
What I am interested here is that how you define your area of interest within that ontological terrain, that kind of thing that I want to know.
Because I would have to claim myself as a in a way, transdisciplinary type of approach of being used, even if you look at my dissertation, because I started with a background with the scientific, the method, the scientific method only, right? Yeah. But when you go to the computing science or computer sciences, there is no reality to be investigated. Those three postulates, can you remember? Right? Yeah. So normally when it comes to computing, we have three worlds. One is virtual, you can't touch, you can't feel. The other one is real world, the physical world, tangible world. And we have another third world, not the third world country. I don't know, we are in that. But it's called immersive world.
Immersive.
In between virtual and... so we have to understand all these different things that you can create there. So there is no world created by God for us to investigate. So we have to create. So that's why I claim myself as an ontologist. Right? It's basically concepts that do exist in that particular, we call mini world, that you are studying.
So basically what you are doing is you are working in the field of virtuality and at the same time dealing with ontology, the existence.
Ontology, when you say ontology,
the existence of so existence of human being in virtual world.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. So you have talked about many things from different disciplines and all, and always what we feel is actually when we are trying to, for example, SOC, that separation of concepts, or the division of the top to division and tackling the problems. Always we look at the problem based on the perceptions and the knowledge and the vector of the semantic and episodic meaning what we are having on also that particular meaning, right? So, so when we look at that, for example, depending on the knowledge what you are having, I can ask I think same thing is based on that.
When we are having some kind of knowledge within ourselves, and based on that knowledge, we are knowledge
Yeah, that's.
Somewhere else, if that particular perception is not there, then that should be understood.
Yeah.
Buying is not a concept to some kind of situation. That person do not believe that problem is bad.
Yeah, it's very okay to come with your own whatever the experience or whatever the knowledge that we are having. But what is needed, I mean, as like the example of cake, right? At the end of the day, you can't see that. It's a very nice blend. If you are not letting any other party to involved in the knowledge creation process, there is no transdisciplinarity there. It's simple like that. Now, yeah, of course, yeah. In our domain we do, but yeah. True. Yeah.
So the question is, we need some kind of, we need to transcend those boundaries also. We have different knowledge systems. I guess we need to transcend those boundaries as well when we try to solve the problem.
The case,
yeah.
It depends on the situation, right?
Because it happened to me, I happened to see that one of the topics in abstracts, that is basically transdisciplinarity in Buddhism, something like that. Yeah. But this one part of the world probably doesn't have
No, what
knowledge in that
is
area.
so that intellectual space is needed. Anybody can come and contribute, and then so we are not letting that. I mean, when you have the territory, now even in a defense, you can say this is out of my scope, or it's not within my. That is how we respond. Very simply, we say that's okay in the conventional approach. That is very okay in the modern discipline. So we have seen that in Vaivas defense, they say this is out of my territory.
This is not a question, but to express my concern, Mr. Prasad. Thank you very much for your insights and perspectives on this transdisciplinarity, which has actually given a new dimension to our thinking about it. But my concern is now this type of subject being dealt with, but we need to get, as Professor Ruchir also mentioned, we have now actually on a council, right? This council really want to promote transdisciplinarity, and now we have a special session there, and we want to sustain this. But the critical mass, I think, is there. So I think this is the challenge now we have now when we want to really people are in their comfort zones, right? But they are not in comfort, but not the secure zone, right? They cannot continue to live on this type of isolated cocoons. They have to come out.
That's true.
But we have opened up new avenues, opportunities through this. I think Professor Sumit, Kaya and all really put in their heart and soul, but I think they should, I think of course, as he said, it will take time to assimilate these things, but at least if you start reflecting and regurgitating on this, I think you will gradually absorb, and then you will benefit from it and
some of these ideas that
better light.
Yeah.
So can we, I could wait, but if our members also, even at the council, try to get this one, because I think this Professor Sumit will not end with December, right? This is a beginning of a long journey, transdisciplinarity, right? So this is just a beginning, right? So we are trying to give it a flying start, but we would like this to be see that this is continued, right, without interruption, growing from strength to strength by the day. So that's why again appreciation to this committee and the speakers, but also concern I have about how we could really take it forward with this type of lukewarm attitude to this type of new things. This is this problem right now. We all want to say we have to respond to change, right? Otherwise we become a dinosaur, and we don't want SLAAS to become a dinosaur. But I think we are moving in that direction, tragically and unfortunately. I think this is the system change, Aragalaya, this is also a part of Aragalaya. I think now we are actually have to commit ourselves to. Thank you very much.
So this is what Professor Sumedha called moment of inertia. Inertia, right?
We have to apply an external force to do that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. We have to thank Professor Senaratna to introducing these sessions, ID and TD into the SLAAS, as somehow like we don't like to talk in this type of forum, like the three postulates that I mentioned. Right? Are we happy with that? Yeah. Yes.
No, I was just wondering, can we have that slide back again? With the name of your framework, the last slide. This risk. The name of the. Yeah, keep it there. Yeah, I have. So you came up with this framework, right?
Yeah, things were there.
Yeah,
things were there.
Like, have you applied
to this nice acronym?
Have you applied to any of your work?
Well, I would say yes, but not completely. For example, if you look at the domains that I'm working on, maybe e-health, maybe e-agriculture, even things I'm doing at the conceptual level. Of course, we borrow a lot of things, right, from different disciplines. Now, for example, when it's come to modeling communications, I went to some publications came even before my birth. Right? Not maths, not computer science. So it's something maybe from linguistic or philosophy. Right? That's
so
possible.
you have found
that's
it to be
possible.
effective.
That's possible.
And this might not be a serious question, but how did that
inclusive? Inclusive.
The second I in risk I came.
Inclusive. I wanted to have a common word for
I
all
was going
these
to
things.
ask because is it because I is the most frequent letter in the no in your it's for inclusive.
Inclusive.
Right. Okay.
I want to have a common term for all these things, and to have something nice for your tongue. Risk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Professor Prasad, the 99% of what you did I couldn't understand. Right? So with that note, I would like to ask you, now whenever we are basically categorized to be like engineering fraternity, where the research is based on evidence and scientific, of course, findings. If you are to go like philosophical aspects, none of our research papers is going to be accepted, by the engineering, the people. So therefore, the fundamental knowledge that we get when we enter to the university, I'm talking of the engineering only, you have to have a fundamentals first. The second is you need to have the application of the fundamentals, and third, combining all, you have to make use of these two to come out with something new, where there is no room for us to go for assume or maybe I would say, the fabricated, right? Or maybe illuminate, sorry, what do you call that? The assume structures to be presented in our findings. In that case, definitely it's going to be, rejected.
Yeah,
So the question is, how you're going to bring in this factor, what you say, the framework, what you mention, and also the inclusiveness into our research, so that what we, publish, or let's say what we come out, is accepted by our evaluators.
So answer is very simple. For the way we do research, you don't need to get this in. The social organizations that right now in place, for example, learned journals, they don't promote these things.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to get out from those things and go to the society and try to deliver something there.
But that
I don't know whether we can call that as research. Of course, that is research.
That have been prevented from us.
Yeah, you don't get the citations, you don't get the H-index increase.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
But anyway, it's a good idea. I mean, so now we are now going to, become kind of an eye-opener. But
For your promotions, for your citations, you have to continue what you are doing right now,
exactly.
which is
so
monodisciplinary
you need to,
mostly.
promote this so that you can be able to say something you don't feel or say now. I understand the importance, but unfortunately, 99% we couldn't understand.
I'm sad to hear that 99%, at least 50%.
Can I make a comment, Prof, on what he said? And in general, so we have been discussing about this scientific rationality, the module or the Western dominant scientific rational model that we have been using in research. Even in social science and humanities, most of the people for the last 5-6 decades, we have been using this scientific model as it's a kind of empirical knowledge-seeking model that we have inherited from the West, basically. So as you said, it's a one way of creating knowledge. And in my discipline, actually, over the past few years, this scientific rationality or the scientific model research, kramavedaya, vidyatmaka kramavedaya, has been challenged, even in our disciplines, theatre, drama, performance studies, and even in some social science and other related disciplines. This scientific model has been challenged and questioned by many, eminent scholars. And nowadays we are using different type of methodologies, but they are also complying with the elements in those scientific approaches. For instance, qualitative research approach. That is a paradigm that has been introduced. So there, as we all know, there are two types, in the quantitative and qualitative. But in this qualitative paradigm, we are still using qualitative paradigm, but at the same time changing the research approaches, knowledge production. For instance, earlier we were taught that you can't use I in your thesis because it is subjective. Now we are using I, for instance. So how you place yourself within the framework of a research. So there are philosophies coming from France and Germany. The one philosophical viewpoint is phenomenology. Phenomenology was founded by Edmund Husserl and his teacher, and they developed by another philosopher, Martin Heidegger, and in France there are few people who have developed it. The phenomenology as a philosophy and as a methodology, research methodology, is being used even in medicine now. So it is philosophical tool, methodological tool applied in nursing, even nursing.
But the sad thing is, when we were asked not to use I, they were not referred us to this one, detachment of the observer.
Exactly. Yeah, you touched upon that question. Yeah, we are taught to detach from the research and do your observations, because the Western world taught us seeing is knowing. That is the paradigm. You see things, then the seeing is paying way for the knowledge generation. That is the ideal model that has been dominated throughout the history. But that even that model has been challenged by women, feminists, and they say it is patriarchal and it should be challenged. This research model. So there are that kind of discussions going on. There are other ways of doing research, and so.
But I want to add one more thing. I mean,
Yeah.
most of these things are again from Western world, right? The things that I shared, right? But unfortunately, nobody interested in looking into those contributions. Even the book that I showed you.
Yeah, so we can bring first-person singular narrative in our research as research findings. That is a very challenging task, but we can now. There are, schools or people who accept that, even though we have that challenge still, the rejecting our papers if we are not, related to the dominant methodologies or structures. But still, actually, we can find alternatives, I think. It is also a kind of challenge that we have as a interdisciplinary group here, just to challenge the knowledge-seeking paradigms and see how other ways of, doing it.
If there are no questions or comments coming from the chat box, are there any comments from? No. In the absence of them, I guess we can invite Dr. Hasan Bandara to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone. So we had a nice talk as well as even nicer discussion about the contents. So I'm here to deliver the official vote of thanks for today's seminar. And I cannot thank enough. I don't have words to show our gratitude to our speaker today, Professor Prasadam Chayavira. He's the founder dean of Faculty of Computing, University of Sri Jayawardenepura. And he's always been very nice. And when we proposed his name at the committee, there was no hesitation. There was no, I would say, any conditions or anything. He just accepted and gave us the date. So thank you very much for that. And we had a very nice discussion about what we saw today in this presentation. One of the take-home messages for me is that Professor Prasad mentioned about those wicked problems. So we have thousands of researchers, universities, university students, researchers, all of these people who are doing their own work. And they claim that they are working on these real-world problems. But my point is that maybe all these people, they are not understanding that they are wicked problems, and they are not really understanding their transdisciplinary nature. Yes.
Research question and research problem.
Yes.
So the bad thing is that in conclusion, they are claiming they solve the practical problem.
Yes, exactly.
Very hard to believe.
Yeah, that's very hard to believe, and that's why probably we are seeing this lot of social, environmental, political, economical problems. They still survive. The problem survives, even though we conduct the research, even though we come up with some conclusions, maybe some write-ups and papers and all that, some claims, but at the end of the day, we don't solve the problem. We don't solve the real problem. So probably this is some of these concepts that we are discussing in this room has to go beyond these walls. And I think this talk today, this whatever the resources that we shared today will be one starting point for early researchers who are listening to us and who are being introduced to this interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary concepts in future. And I cannot bring up the topic because Professor Prasad was one of the speakers of TEDx Usridge Avatanapura. So one of the things is he also talked about a similar content there as well. And you also, if you're a fan of TED Talks or TEDx Talks, you know that not all the speakers can become TEDx speakers. There has to be some passion to it and also some tune to it. And from those speeches that we heard, speeches that we heard, and some inside information, the TEDx is yes. So, so we probably will have that recording, and this message will basically, but also to the international level. And I think you are a great ambassador to bring encouraging words. And I would like to thank our chair, Professor Sumedha Jayanati, and as the chairman, for this amazing fleet. And also thank you very much to all the participants who are here, as well as who are joining from the online platforms. Thank you very much. And this will basically end the seminar series for this year, organized by IDTDS. And we will have our annual sessions. Have a nice rest of the